I was talking with one of my old university friends recently, and he mentioned how much he was making at his new job. It's a decently high six figures a year, easily three times over the amount my partner and I take home. So it was safe to say that I was a little jealous over that. I make, and I make enough to survive with a bit extra every month saved away, so I'm stable. Like, sure, I'd like to be able to buy things a bit faster than I'm able to, but, having self restraint and patience are both important skills for long term sustainability and all that good stuff. And, I say that, but after the conversation, I had this nagging feeling that stayed in the back of my head for a few days. And while I was working at my own job, I guess it all started to feel a bit pointless. Like, in the moment, I was having all kinds of thoughts, like, the usual shit, like, oh, my friend's so much more successful than me, I'm a failure, wah wah wah. I came back, I came back from work that day completely drained. Yeah, normally once I've finished work, I'm ready to jump into personal projects or work on my backyard. Safe to say I didn't feel great. All I wanted to do was just sleep. Like, it's pretty out of character for me. Yeah, thank fuck I've been going through therapy recently, because I sort of realized in that moment that I was spiraling. And so I started thinking about where all these thoughts were coming from, right? Because outside of the numbers game, my friend isn't doing that hot. Like, not at all. Obviously I'm not going to air my friend's problems on my channel, but there are a lot of things going on with him that just aren't great. Whereas I feel like I've got, outside of direct income, I've got my life pretty well put together. Again, even if the numbers aren't super high, I'm doing pretty decently. Thinking back on the conversation, even our most basic priorities aren't the same. And the lifestyles we're trying to make, like my friend is trying to make compared to what I plan on doing, it's completely different. Which is fine. There's a wide variety of ways to traverse through life. Anyway, in the end, I thought it was funny because I ended up mentioning, these thoughts and the conversation to him and a few of my other friends, and one of my other mates pulled me aside and he stressed to me just how jealous he was of my own lifestyle and that he was worried that he was fucking up, which is hilarious to hear because I thought, I had the same thoughts and the same sort of conversation with myself about our mutual friend. It was, it's just so easy to let yourself be pushed and pulled by like modern societal expectations of what success are, like what success is, and sort of lose sight on like your own personal reality. I've been reading this really interesting book by a guy called David Columbia called Cultural Logic of Computation. And while it's not really relevant in the overall topic of comparison, a point that was brought up while I was reading was, I think it's worth touching on, right? Yeah. Just because an idea is ubiquitous in society, it doesn't make that idea true. It just makes it invisible to those immersed in that society. And I think to a certain extent, monetary success has become this like standard stick that we measure a person's life by, regardless of other factors. Anyway, that whole book and frankly that topic as a whole is definitely for another video. I suppose in the end, the takeaway from this experience was pretty simple. Don't let other people's success in life drag down your own. That's easy. Admiration is fine. It can be a great motivator even. If you admire someone positively, you're going to try and live up to that standard that they've set. Even if it's just within a certain fact, like a certain facet of their life that you sort of idealize. Like it's normal. But letting that admiration turn into jealousy and letting it suck away at your passion and drive is just a massive motivation killer. And there isn't a quicker path to failure than having a lack of motivation.